I kind of am obligated to get into this story right now, which is the story of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. So I want to read this tweet here from Ben Means, an expert on the British monarchy. A lot of respect for the tradition and all of that. A lot of great friends in London and Great Britain. It's just not a primary concern of mine. And so I want to read from Ben Goldsmith's tweet, which I thought was terrific. The narrative being promoted by Meghan, friends of Meghan, and the leftist mainstream media and everyone else who hates the royal family and British traditions generally is that the royal couple were driven out of Britain because of snobbery and racism. This just isn't true. The British tabloid press and the British publicly initially adored the idea that a glamorous star from Suits was marrying into the royal family and got terribly excited by the novelty of their royal wedding in the chapel of Windsor Castle. They only started going off Meghan when they realized she was a pushy, ungrateful, entitled, gag-inducingly politically correct Hollywood gold digger who just gone and hitched herself up to Britain's favorite cheeky, chappy warrior prince and turned him into an emasculated, humorless husk of his former self. It's actually from James Dellingpole, who I believe writes for Breitbart, amongst other places, and he interviewed me when we were in London for our campus tour. Very good guy. And so there's a lot of people that are kind of dissecting the interview yesterday. There's a lot of people that are going through the entire thing. I think just a broader question about this whole saga is, are we really now going to blame racism for the alleged oppressed life of Meghan Markle? Is that going to be the consensus point? Her narrative is now basically, I am going to play a victim while I was literally admitted into the royal family. And based on my memory, and I'm sure we could find endless amounts of media coverage that reinforce this, that was one of the most positive media events of the last couple decades that I can think of. And for her to now accuse the entire royal family of racism with no specifics whatsoever, no names, no times, no events, but it fits the narrative, and she knows now she can go make a bunch of money, which she probably made upwards of $7 million to do that interview, because she now is playing the part of what everyone wants, which is, I've seen the inner workings of a powerful institution, and let me tell you, at the highest levels of ancestral aristocracy, they're racist and we must change everything. That's the narrative. The narrative that she is now playing is confirmation bias of what Oprah herself has been trying to push on the American people. Now, I know far more about Oprah Winfrey than about Meghan Markle. Oprah Winfrey, the fact that Oprah tolerated this whole conversation is so unbelievably disappointing. And I'll get to that. But first, I want to play this tape right here of Meghan Markle saying this, making the claim that there were racist remarks against her child's skin color. But she won't say who said it because she's doing maybe a Jussie Smollett thing. Play cut 8.
And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born. That was relayed to me from Harry. Those were conversations that family had with him.
If he were too brown, that would be a problem. Are you saying that?
I wasn't able to follow up with why, but that if that's the assumption you're making, I think that feels like a pretty safe one.
Feels like a safe one. Meghan, you are now allowing your feelings, I guess I should say, to dictate an accusation of a family that largely, by all evidence available, embraced you. What an unbelievably ungrateful person you are. No gratitude. Perfect leftist, no gratitude. Now, Piers Morgan, who's all over the place. Piers Morgan is like Lindsey Graham. Some days Piers Morgan is excellent. Other days he's just completely off the reservation. So let's go to cut 9 of Piers Morgan reacting to this clip, which I think is Piers Morgan at his best. Play cut 9.
Okay, well, who said that? Let's have a name. Rather than allowing everyone to think that it could be anyone in the palace, it could be the Queen, Prince Philip, it could be Charles, it could be Camilla, it could be any of them. Let's have a name. If somebody did say this in a racist, derogatory way, then that would clearly be completely unacceptable and outrageous. But I wonder, who is that person? What was that conversation? What was the context they said it in? Because until we know the answers to all these questions, we have the whole family being labeled as basically racist.
Yeah. I don't think anyone said it. I think she's making it up like Jussie Smollett. I think somebody said something completely different in a different category, and she's using it now to go make people feel sorry for her. Now, what bothers me the most about all this is actually not Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. We know Prince Harry is a metrosexual beta male and really is lacking in almost all testosterone. And we know that Meghan Markle is a tradition-destroying leftist who's self-indulgent. We know that. That's not exactly breaking news. What bothers me the most is the third person in this interview. That's what bothers me. What bothers me is Oprah. Oprah has lived the American dream. Oprah started from nothing, less than nothing. Oprah has gone through some legitimate trials in her life. She worked harder than any other television host throughout the 90s and early 2000s. Oprah had some of the most consequential interviews of the last 25 years. Oprah is a billionaire black woman. Oprah was always about self-improvement, independence, empowerment, rising above your circumstances, being a victor, not a victim. Oprah had an entire following of mostly suburban women believing in themselves, believing in the idea of applied action. And yes, black American women followed her in huge numbers. She was leading a charge of trying to say that there might be troubles around you, work harder, play by the rules. She had Harpo Productions. Oprah has a place in Hawaii. Oprah has a place in Santa Barbara. Oprah has a place everywhere. She is the richest black woman in the world. And yet I have to go watch Oprah Winfrey even tolerate, even entertain this idea that racism exists as a barrier to human success. Only in America is it possible for Oprah Winfrey to succeed. Only in America. And yet Oprah Winfrey creates this forum of oppression Olympics. She creates this framework of where we're now going to allow you to go complain professionally. Where the real Oprah Winfrey, the Oprah Winfrey that I know is still out there somewhere and has been suppressed into this angry and bitter person, the real Oprah Winfrey, the 1995 Oprah Winfrey that used to be just phenomenal, the Oprah Winfrey that interviewed Donald Trump, the Oprah Winfrey that gave away cars for fun, the Oprah Winfrey that was always about success. You know how Oprah would have handled that interview in the 1990s? Oprah would have said, okay, Meghan, you're saying this. Are you really trying to say people should feel sorry for you right now with the privilege, with the wealth that you obviously have? Are you trying to say that black women can't succeed? Obviously, I've succeeded. Instead, she validated the concern. Oprah Winfrey said last summer, white people don't understand that whiteness itself gets you through life in ways that blackness cannot. Oprah Winfrey, more so than the metrosexual beta male Prince Harry or the leftist Meghan Markle. Forget about those people. Oprah should be the focus of this entire thing. Oprah has lived the story of what it means to be an American entrepreneur, to have grit, to have hustle, to earn your success. And Oprah's entire platform now is dedicated around the validation of victimhood. She didn't even press the issue. She should have been obligated to challenge such a controversial claim. The old Oprah would have done that. Yet Oprah has become this bitter, angry, and dare I say, destructive force in the American media landscape. And as someone who was born and raised in Chicago, she had all of her empire in Chicago. And I was raised with the story of Oprah Winfrey rising above her circumstances and being a victor. Oprah Winfrey has too much power, too much wealth, and too much influence to be so reckless and irresponsible.